Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2021 NASCAR NR2003 Series season here on the channel, a weekly series that we bring to you every week, following along with the current NASCAR schedule IRL. Today, we are once again in Florida here at Homestead Miami Speedway, a field full of 40 cars ready to tackle this mile-and-a-half track. The first time we have a mile-and-a-half track this season, we went to a super speedway, we went to a road course. Now we are here at a mile-and-a-half at Homestead Miami. And Kevin Harvick starts off the season very strong. 2 wins to start the season with the Daytona 500 and the Daytona Road Course. As always, I am joined this time by just Jay today.
Hello.
No Eddie with us, so it's just a two-man show. We have RJ kind of in the booth. He might pop in a few times here and there, but for the main thing, it's just a two-man show today. We're ready to get going, though, at this mile-and-a-half here of Homestead, Miami. I mean, Jay, first two races of the season's been pretty wild. Daytona, I mean, had a lot of lap cars kind of getting in the mix. We saw a big crash with Kaz Grala going up and over, but the Daytona Road Course last week stole the show. I felt like it was just one of the most chaotic races we've ever seen.
A lot like the Clash, it was pure chaos, and it was obviously we saw Harvick win, and he's continued the dominance in today by getting the pole here at Homestead. So I think we're going to be looking at a much calmer race now compared to the 500, and certainly compared to the road course. I don't think we're going to have the same craziness happen now that we're at a mile and a half and we're to these guys bread and butter to what they're all used to, and in a track like Homestead where a lot of these guys like to rip the top and like Kyle Larson, who I see is starting there in fourth. And so I think we're going to have a lot calmer race today. We're probably going to see the normal guys shine again. We may still see Harvick win because obviously we know how good he is at mile and a halves. But I'm expecting a much cleaner race, a much more typical race, and I'm expecting to see one of these guys who can rip the top completely dominate this race today.
There you see the starting order going on your screen. Currently, Miami used to be, of course, the season finale. Now race number 3 on the season. I personally really miss it as the season finale, but Jay mentioning drivers on the top. So definitely look for a driver like Kyle Larson, maybe Tyler Reddick as well. Jay, do you think Chase Briscoe? I mean, he's a guy that can rip the top. I think maybe he could be a bit of a sleeper pick today.
Yeah, you have a good point there. I did forget about Briscoe. Briscoe, we saw him absolutely dominate the Xfinity Series when we came here, and we know that he is very good, just like Larson and a couple others at running that Highline. So I think that's a pretty good sleeper pick. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So getting ready to take the green flag here. It's 161 laps here at Homestead Miami. Stage 1 is 40 laps. Stage 2 is 40 laps. The final run will be from lap 80 to lap 161. Now as the green flag is out, and we are underway here for the third race of the season at Homestead Miami as Kevin Harvick leads the way. We've actually had a bit of trouble getting a Homestead Miami that was good enough to really put on a race, but we've kind of found one here. You might notice the drivers run a little bit lower on the track, but it's really the best thing we could find because with the high line, a lot of them were just hitting the wall every single corner. Jay was testing it and he noticed that, and then I did a really quick test run and noticed the same thing. So you're going to see them a little bit lower on the track here as we already got some 3 wide back here between Martin Truex Jr., William Byron, Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto, I think one guy that stands out has had quite the rough start to the season. Daytona 500 didn't go well, and the Daytona Road Course he got caught up in some incidents as well.
Yeah, he needs to have a much better middle of the season than he has so far to the start. His start of the season has been rough, and we all know with him not being in this car next season and him not having a ride guarantee for next season that he needs to go out here and prove himself as there is lots of 3 wide racing right now, 4 rows deep, actually 5 rows deep of 3 wide racing. So if I was saying this was going to be not a crazy race, but it seems like I was very, very, very wrong about that.
If I'm in Matt DiBenedetto's spot right now, knowing how much trouble he's had in just the first few weeks, I'm getting out of this because these guys are not holding back whatsoever. You see Brad Keselowski already putting pressure on Kevin Harvick for the lead. Kyle Larson's 3 wide in the middle between Joey Logano, the 2018 champion, and Kurt Busch, who actually kind of backs out of it there. But it appears Keselowski not waiting around. He goes to the lead, clear. Now Larson, actually a little bit of contact right there I just saw between him and the 22. These guys are not waiting around right now. Jay, it's only lap 4, and these guys are giving it everything they've got already.
Yeah, we have seen so far on NR that these guys do not like to wait around at all. They don't care if it's the first lap or it's the last lap. They're going to make moves anytime, be aggressive at any time, and if anybody's in their way, they'll move them if they have to. So, and to go back to your point about the Benedetto, yeah, I agree. He's putting himself in situations he probably does not need to be in right now. He needs to salvage a good finish, get a good point stay, and actually start to build something here for this season, and not just have constant struggles and be in a situation where he's stuck with bad luck and not having anything go his way.
Calming down a little bit now right up front here, so DiBenedetto might be okay to kind of keep pushing the issue just a little bit. There's still 3 wide. Harvick not doing good at all right now, as he is actually dropping down the order quite quickly here. As you see, he's 3 wide with Ryan Blaney as well as William Byron. Daniel Suarez in that number 99 iFly Camaro for Trackhouse Racing, kind of up in the mix. We saw him in the Daytona Road Course, Jay. We saw him actually run pretty well, and then he actually got caught up in one of those big incidents in the middle portion of the race and kind of destroyed his day. But I think there's really so far been proof of a good chunk of speed in that car.
Yeah, we saw that once he got the damage repaired, he was still able to make up some positions and still salvage a decent day out of it. So I'm impressed with what I've seen so far from that new team. I think everybody was kind of thinking they would maybe be more like front row, kind of mid tier. We all know the driver does have talent, but I didn't, I don't know if any of us really expected that team to be competitive. But so far, they seem to be right about, as you're looking to the other new team, 23XI, they seem to be about the same level as that team. So so far this season, I'm impressed certainly with what I've seen there. And another thing that I've noticed so far is Almirola. Once again, we saw him second last week at the Roval, or not at the Roval, at the Daytona Road Course, and running extremely well that race. And here he is again running in, I think, fourth, right? No, second actually, right
Yeah,
now. So
moving up.
he's running really well so far to start the season, and I think that's quite a surprise to everyone. As he's about to make it 3 wide for the lead.
Not holding back, Eric Almirola. Here he goes. Up the inside of Joey Logano. Keselowski loses the lead. He's now 3 wide with Larson and Almirola. With the way these guys racing, we're already on lap 8. I'm surprised we haven't seen any incidents yet now as they go down into 3. Keselowski, it seems like the third car on the outside gets a bit of a disadvantage of going into the corner, but Almirola side by side with Kyle Larson. They continue this 3 wide action here through the field now as they dive down into turn 1. It's just a matter of time until something goes wrong here. You see DiBenedetto, he's in that spot I was talking about earlier. Probably don't want to be 3 wide in the middle between Denny Hamlin as well as Kurt Busch. You see Chase Elliott back here trying to make some moves up the inside of one of his good friends of Ryan Blaney. I mean, Jay, we saw last race at the Daytona Road Course. I think we both expected the 9 of Elliott to be really fast. I mean, he had speed. He ran about 4th or 5th in most of the race, but he just never really had anything for the leaders.
Yeah, it was quite surprising to see in both races we had at the road course, between the Clash and the actual points race last weekend, that he was not in contention really at all, which I think is incredibly surprising for everyone. With we know how good Chase Elliott is on road courses. So, Keselowski able to make a great save there. But yeah, Chase Elliott struggling at his bread and butter, the road courses. So I don't know. I'm not too sure what was up with that. I don't know if maybe these other guys just suddenly got a lot better, or if maybe Hendrick's equipment this year is not that great. I mean, as we've seen Larson run well too. So truthfully, I'm not too sure what the issue was with that. But it was quite surprising to see.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, still 6 road courses left on the season for Elliott to kind of get that figured out. There's a bit of a moment I just saw between the 5 and the 10. Now, as it seems like when they go 3 wide, that car in the middle really seems to be able to get a good run now. As Joey Logano, this is the biggest lead we've actually seen in the race, and he's only up ahead by 2 or 3 car lengths at the most right now as he goes down into turns 1 as these guys continue to just duel it out now. As DiBenedetto, he is not shying away from being right up in this scrap now, as I'm actually really keeping an eye on that 9 car. Really, like I saw a few laps ago, he was really able to make that inside work up the inside of the 12, but we'll have to see what happens as time goes on. Kyle Larson seems to be fading down the order a little bit. Jay, a little bit surprising, I think, of the drivers that we were choosing to look out for. He's definitely running the best right now, but you can see now he's falling down the order pretty quick. I'm not sure, maybe if he used his stuff up already.
I think so far what we've seen, for some odd reason, that outside seems to be a disadvantage. And we know normally at Homestead, the outside is where you want to be. So I don't know if right now just being on the outside of 3 wide and you get put into an awkward position like we see Almirola happening to him right now, I guess maybe they just can't run the corner the same way, or maybe because obviously we have a different track downloaded, but the guys so far don't seem to want to run the outside. But I'm guessing maybe later in the run as the tires wear, they'll want to move up more to the outside line and start ripping the wall, and so maybe we'll see that later in the runs, or maybe just the outside line straight is not good at all, and anybody put into 3 wide situation again like Logano
Now he drops back.
anybody in the outside is just not going to be able to hold it. It seems like so far.
So now you see the 21 actually of DiBenedetto. He's up to 2nd place here now, or at least battling for 2nd place side by side with Truex. As Harvick's trying to already take it 3 wide. Harvick started on pole, fell back within the first handful of laps. He's worked himself back up into the mix, and honestly, tire fall off has got to come into play at some point. So I'm assuming we're going to get a little bit more spread out as this run goes on. But right now, like Jay, I mean, if it stays like this all race, it's going to come down to just like a normal pack race, it feels like, of just trying to be in the right place at the right time.
Definitely going to be in the right place at the right time, because like we saw with Logano, he had that very big lead. Then the pack catches him. He's stuck on the outside, and now look at him. He's slipping back to what is that, like 7th or 8th right now? I can't
Oh,
see the leaderboard because what I'm looking at is fuzzy. What did I miss? I can't see.
there was a little bit of contact there between the 2 and the 11 as they came out of turn 2. They kept it straight, but the 22 continues to fall down. He was down to 9th there, now down to actually 10th and 11th. So he goes from the lead to 11th place in just a couple laps now, as Kurt Busch now leads over second place of Kevin Harvick into turns 1 on lap 17. We mentioned earlier the first two stages, only 40 laps, so we're already almost halfway through this first stage. Here's a go down the back straightaway. It seems to be maybe calming down just a little bit up front as DiBenedetto settles into that third spot, but Harvick now making a move up the inside of the number 1 car of Kurt Busch as they exit turn 2. I guess we'll go a little bit through the field here to see what's going on now, as there's been so much chaos going on up front. We haven't really had much time to even look through the field, as actually we're going 2 by 2 again now, but we do go through the field here. You see Chase Elliott side by side with Daniel Suarez. Suarez seems to be slowly but surely moving his way forwards, but I'm honestly a little bit surprised, Jay, with the 23 of Bubba Wallace. I thought we were going to see a little bit more speed out of that car. They seem to have been struggling the first few weeks.
They certainly have. Yeah, everybody, pretty much, nothing is confirmed because we don't know, but everybody pretty much expects that car to be a 5th Joe Gibbs car basically, and have the same equipment. But in saying that, he's not too far off of 2 of his Joe Gibbs teammates in Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell. It looks like they might be going 4 wide there for a second.
They
I
are
don't know how
indeed.
I don't know how these guys are going to keep this straight. If they keep this straight, they're all coming together
Oh,
into turn 3.
boy.
Very, very close moment. Close racing, still 4 wide.
Someone's got to give, but I don't think anyone's going to. Kyle Larson all of a sudden has a chance to go for the lead. This is tremendous racing right here. They're 4 wide, 2 rows deep just about, and somehow they're not crashing. And DiBenedetto, we were talking about getting out of there. He does not care right now. Oh, no! Huge hit for the 22 of Joey Logano. Truex full sends. Oh!
Oh, no!
The 2 upside down. Keselowski up and over. That's going to be a caution, I'm sure. Now, a big accident. Logano already done. The pace car comes out, and oh my god, that was a huge hit. Oh my god, this thing went hauling through there, and just like that, we've got some dominant cars taken out here in Homestead Miami. Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. Look at the damage on their cars. Absolutely destroyed. Kurt Busch as well included. Now,
one guy I'm curious about that you were just mentioning, I wonder if DiBenedetto somehow made it through that, is there's more problems slowing down.
We got another pileup. That's probably 2 to 3 to 4 cars as well involved. Kurt Busch is going fast into there. He slows it up, thank God. But that's 2 or 3 cars right there. You just got a good chunk of damage from that as well, as they're going 4 wide.
I'm looking at the pack of cars we have there right now, and I don't think that DiBenedetto made it through it. So he may actually have been involved in this wreck and already DNF'd, which if that's true, that is a terrible start to his season for these first 3 races.
The 23 has damage. The 42, we got some cars with their front ends. I think it was just an effect of them trying to get down to that excess lane, actually, is what it looked like to me.
Leader.
So hopefully they can get that fixed.
I think might be the guy.
Yeah, DiBenedetto out front as everybody comes to the pit lane.
Yeah.
Yes, so,
so
we're gonna
made it through fine, but
we're gonna see what happens here on the pit lane, and then we'll get replays. But I mean, wow.
So Logano, did he get turned?
It looked like it to me.
I'm curious if he got turned straight into the inside wall, or if he had if he had contact with it and then slid back up, kind of like Truex, and had more contact. Because that's a lot of damage for just hitting the inside wall.
Yeah, his car is destroyed. Here comes all the
good
good cars.
DNF'd. So I think Logano is now out. Looks like Keselowski is out, and potentially Harvick, but I'm not too sure if he's still in or not.
Seeing some repairs on the cars that were involved in the incident. Kyle Larson's a little bit down the order now. You see the 48 of Alex Bowman. He wasn't having a good run, but I mean, a bunch of cars got damaged there in the middle of that pack. Ross Chastain's completely lost his front end. Bubba Wallace, I saw his back end get destroyed. The 7 cars taking his front end off, as well as everybody else coming out of the pit lane. The 47's got some damage as well. The 78, the 36, and then everyone else is pretty clean. Kurt Busch, surprisingly, Jay, look, he's got his car relatively fixed up now.
Yeah, he's still only got some damage left on that right side, and I think the 12 has mostly got his damage
Truex as well.
fixed as well. And Truex, I mean, that's certainly not good to have that rear end gone, but for the guy, for Truex to be the guy to basically cause that wreck and destroy some cars and only have his rear end missing, I think that's pretty good for his team. I think his team will take that. But wow, that was something.
Huge.
You know when I said this was going to be a calm race, I was extremely wrong.
Yeah, we got some replays to show you guys now up on the screen to see what in the world just happened there. A look at Joey Logano as he came through the turn 2. Byron just straight up got into his left rear and a huge hit up and into the infield catchments. And well, everything was history after that. We saw what happened up ahead, but that's straight up the end of Joey's day. Jay, that was a monstrous crash right there for Joey Logano.
Yeah, you and I both noticed when that crash first started happening. Joey went out of frame, but we saw him get turned straight on to the inside wall, and it was a bad hit for Logano. But I will mention one little thing that we could catch there from that look is Truex made a great save up until he didn't and went in front of the field.
So here is the view of Truex. As Jay was mentioning, a tremendous save right there. Larson just gets into him. And Logano, what a huge hit that was. It could have been the same for Truex, but it gets worse. He's going way too fast into turn 3. Destroys a whole bunch of drivers. Keselowski goes up and over. Harvick, Kurt Busch, Blaney, a whole bunch of them get a huge amount of damage. You see Keselowski slides down the track, gets hit by Harvick again, and of course that brought out the caution. Now, as we've got a few onboard cameras to look at from some of the drivers in that big accident right there. View from the back of Brad Keselowski, who ends up flipping over in that incident. You're going to see he has no idea this is coming. Truex just right here comes up the track, and boom, and up and over the 2-car goes, and his day comes to an end. So, Jay, all Penske drivers just had their day actually ended right there, other than Austin Cindric, who is still in this race. But the main 3 Penske drivers done in one incident.
Yeah, all 3 of them collected, which is very unfortunate for that team. I guess, they still have Cindric and then their affiliate teammate, De Benedetto. But all 3 of those guys right there in one little group and get just absolutely destroyed by one driver.
There's
Actually,
the look.
No, not by one driver. I forgot Logano was the one who hit the inside wall, but still. And that's just a big mess. I'm not too sure what's happening there.
We'll get a better look at that in a second again. It looked like the 7 actually ran into the back of someone there. On board with Kyle Larson as well, who actually sent the Truex car into the infield like that. Larson goes into the grass too, manages to save it, and then you see what happens right here. The 19 slides right across, and oh my goodness. A huge moment right there. Larson fortunately makes it through as well. We got a view from the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto's rear bumper cam caught everything. You see the 22 get hooked into the inside wall. You see him up and over. Then you see the 19 come into frame right here. And there they all go. Up and over the 2. There goes the 12, the 4, the 19, the 1. All destroyed right there as the caution comes out here at Homestead Miami. And of course, we also got a view of what in the world happened on the cooldown lap, coming to everybody getting grouped up with the pace car. View from Ross Chastain on the cooldown lap. Everybody actually got together here when they were trying to get slowed up for the access road. You see the 42 actually is going to jump into the back of the 34, and then everybody piles in the 7 up and nearly went up and over. The 16 involved the 47. All of these cars. Blaney, he was already wrecked, of course. Then they decided to go 4 wide, and everybody just piled in there. A really awkward scenario in general. Kurt Busch just about got into something as well. But everybody's brought it back to the pit lane, and we, of course, got a green flag restart coming up here in just a few moments. But before we get to this restart, we're going to go to a quick break here before we come back, and we're going to leave off with a view from Daniel Suarez, who just barely missed that accident here in Homestead Miami Speedway. And welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. When we get going this time by, it'll be 16 laps to go to decide the first stage here at Miami. Jay, I kind of thought we saw that coming, but at the same time, I did not think we were going to wipe out so many cars there in one accident.
Yeah, when wrecks happen here on NR, they happen in quite a large number. So I assume that's probably not the only one we're going to see. We'll probably see more wrecks like that, more craziness happen, more good cars get taken out. And yeah, this race is certainly, if that first 20 or so laps is an the indication, this is going to get wild.
I mean, I guess it worked out for Matt Benedetto. Finds himself now out front, leading the way. Just barely missed that crash. Now is get ready to go for the restart. The green flag is back out here. 16 laps remain in stage one. You notice, as usual, single file restarts, lucky dogs, and whatnot are not a thing here in this game. But immediately I notice the 24 of William Byron actually making a move up the inside of Kyle Busch. Hamlin actually looking to the inside of the Benedetto here down the back straightaway as they get going. So how long do you think, Jay, till we see some three wide action? I'm sure it's not going to be long.
Not long at all. These guys are already too wide. We'll probably see them go 3 wide in turn 1 here. Christopher Bell is already looking like he wants to make a move here off of turn 4. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see that happen. It may not happen right now, but it'll happen probably pretty
Oh, we got
pretty
problems.
soon. Oh!
The 20's blowing up. The 20 has an engine failure into turn 1. Fortunately, nothing bad comes out of that. The 24 nearly ran into the back of him, but now the 20 pulls off the track. Very unfortunate there. Christopher Bell's day out of nowhere comes to a close here in Homestead, Miami. I mean, I'm not sure in NR 2003, Jay, you might have knowledge. Can they come in and fix that potentially, or is he done for the day, do you think?
No, I believe that'll be done for the day. Sometimes it can be something that can be fixed, and it'll take him several laps. We'll have to watch for it on the leaderboard there. Like if it says crankshaft or something, usually they can fix that. As far as I've noticed, that's usually like they're in the garage. But if it says retired or engine failure or something along those lines, then he will be done. And I have to think that will be a total engine failure, and he will be done.
So now there's a three-car breakaway between Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, as well as Matt Benedetto. There's a 20 there. I think he's going to get back out on the track, actually, from based off of the timing. But you see here, now it's just a big pack of cars from fourth on back. Austin Cindric, the lone Penske driver left in this race after that huge accident. And right here, Jay, is exactly where I'm looking at. Things are probably going to get wild here any moment.
These guys are really, really close right now. I guess they're not taking into account the massive wreck that we just saw with Joey Logano sitting on top of the catch fence, Brad Keselowski flipping in turn 3, and a lot of really good cars getting taken out. So I guess these guys aren't really caring about that and wanting to still keep making moves. Wow, it got really close between Custer, Byron, and Kyle Busch there in turn 1.
I thought that was going to be a moment right there. Now as to continue on their way. Bowman in the 48, he was surprisingly not taken out in that big accident. He actually did get run into the back of after that caution had come out. But once again, he's already in a spot, once again, where you really do not want to be here as they exit turn 4. Almirola says, I'm trying to get out of here and get away from these guys. Kyle Larson, Daniel Suarez right up in the mix here as they go down into turn 1. As up front, though, we still got De Benedetto battling it out with Denny Hamlin as well as Chase Elliott, but really the focus is on this main group of cars. So Christopher Bell actually had a header issue. So he is actually, I believe, on the track, if I'm not mistaken here. I can't see a shot of him right now. He might be still on the pit lane.
No, he's not on the track. He's most likely, if I believe, I think he's in the garage right now and has the chance of getting it fixed. But I'm honestly not too sure how that works. So he either is done or he has a chance of maybe getting it fixed.
Okay, yeah.
Out on track in 20, 30 laps or so.
I didn't see him on the pit lane there, so he must be, yeah, like you said, in the garage. There's a double file from fourth on back currently. Cole Custer up in the mix. Daniel Suarez again. But now you see Hamlin actually trying to run away a little bit with this lead here. And up in front of these guys, we've got Kurt Busch with some damage, a little bit off the pace here. He's actually going to be going a lap down, I'm sure, pretty soon. You got drivers like Blaney, the 78, the 19, all just lacking speed. Same for Corey LaJoie as well. Chastain, Ty Dillon, and then, of course, you got the rest of this big group of cars going at it now with Bubba Wallace here as well. Has got quite a bit of damage on the back of that car, but it seems like now, Jay, these guys are calming down. Maybe they've kind of learned their lesson. As I say that, there's actually a little bit of contact between the 33 and the 17, but I'm hopeful that these guys have at least learned their lesson.
No, I don't think they have at all. We're going to keep seeing this happen all day long. We're going to keep seeing them be 3 wide, be super aggressive. So that's probably going to be the constant theme all day long. I'll tell you one thing, that when you showed that shot there of Truex way off the pace, I'm kind of surprised to see Blaney off the pace. Obviously, we know he got some big damage, but it seems to me, at least visually, it looks like he got it fixed. So I'm quite surprised to see him still quite off the pace and probably going to fall down a lap here pretty soon.
I just saw the one car of Kurt Busch has now gone a lap down, actually. There he is, way up base. The 9 car must have got held up behind him because he's way off. Now, as DeBenedetto still putting the attack to the inside of Denny Hamlin, there's now less than 10 laps to go in stage 1 up ahead. There you see Blaney. Yeah, I mean, his car doesn't look bad at all compared to the guys he's around, but he's just kind of riding around in this little 3-car pack with them. So very odd there as he's actually making a move up the inside of the 78. But there is some damage on the left side of that car as DeBenedetto now to the lead here as he exits turns 2. Would love to get a playoff point after how bad these first few races have been for him. He would love to, of course, get some playoff points and whatnot, and just get as many, of course, stage points as possible. They were 4 wide again into turn 3. Alfredo, the rookie, as well as Austin Cindric, another rookie, actually. The 2 rookies going at it there, as they are all being held up behind Kurt Busch now, as that's kind of reminds me a little bit, Jay, of Daytona, where we had that lap car holding up a big group of cars there.
Yeah, these these lap cars do not like to get out of the way on NR, so it'll be a constant theme all season that once they start getting into these lap cars, especially ones with damage that are excessively slower than the leaders, we'll start to see them getting in the way and stuck behind them, and obviously now we see as the pack is starting to catch a little bit there, the top 3 guys are starting to get caught by Custer and Kyle Larson and Daniel Suarez and those guys.
And that could definitely spice up the finish here now. Approaching 3 laps to go when they come back around in the stage. So they are very close now as that draft is really pulling them in. You see it's just a single file 3-car line between Hamlin, Elliott, and DeBenedetto. Kyle Larson up the inside of the 41 through 3 and 4. Daniel Suarez having a very strong run in that 99 car. Kyle Busch up inside the top 10 as well. He was actually running outside the top 10 before that incident had happened, but now you got the 21 of DeBenedetto trying to make something happen. Doesn't quite work out for him right there now. As look, Jay, we got the 5 in the mix now, and now with approaching 2 to go in the stage, I'm sure it's going to get quite wild here.
These guys aren't going to stay single file for long. These guys are going to catch these 3 leaders, and they're probably going to make it too wide and make the end of the stage quite interesting. As it's pretty obvious that once these guys get single filed out, they can run a whole lot faster because these top 3 guys pulled away and were racing each other there for several laps. And once these guys got held up by Kurt Busch and went single file, they caught very quickly. So it seems like when you're in a single file line, obviously we know for the most part you are a lot faster. And I think these leaders right now are hoping those slow lap cars don't get in the way here come around to 1 to go.
Yeah, approaching the final lap of the stage, and it's going to get close. I think they might be okay. It's now a 4-car line in front of them. Actually, no, they might get them going into maybe turn 3 here as Denny Hamlin leads the way looking for a playoff point now. DeBenedetto side by side with Chase Elliott for the 2nd spot. Larson and Suarez, even the 17 of Chris Buescher up in the mix here on this white flag in stage 1 as they go down into 3. It looks like they're actually going to be okay here. Hamlin leads the way through 3 and 4 for the final time. Custer maybe trying to make a 3 wide up the inside of the 21 of DeBenedetto. Elliott hung 3 wide on the outside there, but Denny Hamlin comes through to win stage 1 as the rest of the field crosses the line now, as this is kind of how we have to throw the stage yellows, unfortunately, here in NR 2003, but the caution is out now here in Homestead Miami. Stage 1 has come to a close. They do got to race it back to the line, so this could get a little bit sketchy here. Just how NR works. Thank goodness they kept it clean there.
There's something that I want to mention, perhaps, Gary. We both didn't think about them racing back to the line. For the end of stage 2, do it on the white
flag lap. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just had that thought too.
Yeah.
As they make contact after the line. Thank goodness I didn't turn into anything there. But we saw what happened on the cooldown lap last time. So we're going to keep an eye before we go to break of what happens right here. Now, as this already has... Yep, it doesn't look good. We got big trouble. We got big trouble. Oh my goodness, multiple cars involved. The 6th car nearly goes up and over. Kyle Busch has got damage. The 48's got damage. Everybody's got damage back there now, as the AI do not like being side by side when they have to get into the access lane there, coming into the pit lane. So all of a sudden, once again, with just the way the AI are, we got more chaos under caution. And now the 14's got a ton of damage. That actually could be his day pretty much destroyed now, as the 9 car, fortunately for him, he actually has a little bit of rear bumper damage now, as everybody though comes into the pit lane. So Denny Hamlin awarded the stage victory. You see the top 10 on your screen right there. But aside from that absolute stupidity there with the AI, Jay, stage one, quite wild at points there. Calmed down a little bit at the end, but I mean, yeah, like I said, quite wild there.
Yeah, very very good racing towards the end of that stage, and then the slow down lap turned into quite a bit of chaos. And hopefully we don't see any guys retire, and a lot of them can get that damage fixed. But I don't think that's going to be possible, to be honest. There was a lot of heavy damage there, so we'll have to wait and see who can and can't get their damage fixed, or who do and don't retire. So a lot of good guys here with probably their competition being able to be competitive so far in this race probably over.
Kyle Busch, he picked up some stage points. I remember at Daytona Road Course last week, he crashed like 3 times until he finally called it a day. And now look at his car, absolutely destroyed. But before we get going for stage two, we're gonna go for a quick break and come back at you guys here for the start of the second stage, as well as give you a look at what in the world happened there on that cooldown lap again here from Homestead Miami Speedway. Back from Homestead, Miami, you saw once again chaos start on that cooldown lap. You see it start up a few rows there between the 3 wide, between the 9, the 17, and the 3, but it just gets absolutely chaotic here. The 6 car nearly went up and over the 24, the 43, the 23, the 33, the 53, the 52, all of these guys with a ton of damage. Eric Almirola even, Jay. I mean, we saw Almirola with a lot of speed in that car, and now look at his car, just destroyed.
Absolutely mangled, just like a lot of these other guys' cars. So I think that's uh, potentially going to be the end of some guys' days, and definitely going to end a lot of guys being able to be competitive. That is a lot of damage on the 10, on the 6, and some other cars, especially the 18 as well. So that's really, really, really unfortunate for a lot of these guys, and probably going to make this race interesting to say the least, with how many slow cars we're going to have in the field now.
Back to the live scene here at Homestead, Miami. We've got now, 10 cars or so, Jay, retired from the race. Very unfortunate to see here as we get ready to go for the restart. And you're going to notice right here, though, we got a couple lap cars that'll be up on the inside. Kurt Busch as well as the 78. And on the green flag now that you can see for the start of stage 2, that one car does not get going, which is not very surprising now. But Denny Hamlin already taking a look to that left rear quarter panel of DiBenedetto. But Jay, DiBenedetto got second there in stage one. I mean, did exactly what he needs to do to kind of bounce back from what has been a really rough start to the season.
He's shown so far he has the speed. He just needs to not get involved in any incidents, and keep himself up here towards the front. He doesn't need to try too hard to win and get himself in a bad situation or a bad wreck. So for him, he's probably just looking to salvage a good day in points, as we have the 1 and the 78 slowing up this field heavily back here. These
Four
guys
wide
are...
for a moment.
This might get interesting here going into the turn with how slow these guys are. Very close there for a moment.
Wow.
Man, these slow cars really, really get in the way.
It amazes me to see how fast that 14 is compared to the one car. The 14's got no front end, no back end. The one car has all of its fenders, everything, and he is so far off the pace. But back up to the front, DiBenedetto now falling down a little bit. Denny Hamlin back out to the front. Austin Dillon up into second. That's how you know it's been quite chaotic. Now is Kyle Larson as well up into the mix. Larson, I think, actually, Jay's been doing a pretty good job. Somehow hasn't been involved in any of these stack ups. Wasn't cleaned on that big crash. He's just been kind of keeping his nose clean. And I think with the way this race is going, that's going to play a huge role here.
Yeah, we saw there towards the end of the stage too, and these guys, I don't believe any of them took fresh tires, so we'll probably see even more tire wear happen this stage. But they were able to get more spread out and start kind of running their own lines. So as I was guessing earlier, as the tires wear, they'll probably be able to run that high line, and if they do, watch for Kyle Larson to go up to that high line and start ripping the wall, and probably start to dominate this race, since he's already in second without even using the high line.
Yeah, there he is putting the pressure on Hamlin. That pack of cars back there that kind of got held up. Look at this. They're going 3 wide into turns 3 and 4. But you got like drivers like the 47 and the 53 now running up towards the top 10 here. So, I mean, Jay, with all this chaos going on, this opens up a huge chance for a low-funded team like this to actually have a good run here today and get some big points.
Yeah, I believe pretty much at least 8 out of the 10 guys that we've seen retired so far are all pretty big contenders. They're the guys who could win this race, and definitely championship contenders. So that leaves a lot of room for a lot of these smaller teams and a lot of these middle tier teams to get themselves a good day if they can stay out of trouble. But we see a lot of these guys competing for a top 10 basically have no rear end or no front end or none of both.
Right.
So a lot of these guys have already had a lot of trouble. They just haven't had enough to retire themselves, and it's getting them almost a top 10.
And there you see the 5 car of Kyle Larson now going to the lead, doing, I mean, I guess what we don't expect. Kyle Larson making a move on the inside at Homestead Miami to go to the front here now, as we have just 30 laps or so to go in this second stage. And I already see some lap traffic up ahead. We got the 51 of Cody Ware. He is way off the pace, even with the fenders on that car. It's not the fastest one, to say the least. And this pack of cars right here is going to catch him by the time we get down into turn 3. So where are they going to go? Larson, he's going to go to the outside here. So actually they might get around him. Oh my goodness, the 9 of Chase Elliott though, and the 21 of DeBenedetto, they get held up quite a bit here as they exit turn 4. But fortunately they at least keep it clean. That's the main thing here. Now is the 3 of car of Austin Dillon as well going to get kind of held up back there. Now as you see this once again back here, this pack going at it with a lot of underfunded teams mixed with a driver like Alex Bowman, the 23 of Bubba Wallace as well. Some decent cars there. But I mean, we go a little bit further through the field. A driver like Kyle Busch, a bunch of damage on that car. Kind of gets worse for him, Jay. We saw him crash 3 times last week. And now here he is running outside of the top 20 after getting damage in that big pileup.
A bit like DeBenedetto, Kyle Busch has had a pretty horrendous start to his season, and it gets worse for him. Unlike DeBenedetto, it gets worse for him in Homestead instead of better. So far, DeBenedetto's had a pretty decent day, and Kyle Busch, like last week, has been involved in pretty much everything so far, and has heavy damage, and is very slow. And much like you documented with Kurt Busch having basically all his damage fixed, he's still running incredibly slow. Same thing for Blaney. Blaney's pretty much got all of his damage fixed, and you saw him running right there behind Kyle Busch. So I guess with those guys, it's not so much body damage as it is their engines just really hurt, and they are fairly down on power.
There you see Suarez up in P4. He had a really rough Daytona 500, I remember, as they are now closing in again on the back of Kurt Busch. I think we're going to see this guy get lapped probably every 5 to 6 laps or so at this point. They're going to catch him at a really awkward spot there, the 5 and the 11. They're going to stay low, though, and they are going to, sure enough, be able to get around him, as Larson's not wasting any time. He's trying to go to the outside there, but then the 41 gets held up, and now Jay, with the way everything's going, I think now this is going to turn into, earlier we were talking about, we thought this was going to be being in the right place at the right time. I think it's still going to be that way, but in a more of a fashion I didn't expect, more or less be in the right place at the right time to get around the lap traffic.
Certainly, you are definitely correct on that. These guys are going to have to catch the lap traffic at the right time and hope they can just zip around them, because obviously we've seen the lap traffic stay in the line the leaders are in, and the leaders also don't make any adjustments to get out of that line until it's too late and they've already been held up and somebody's going around them on the outside or the inside, or what have you, whatever line they're in. So yeah, definitely going to be catching them, all about catching those lap cars at the right time and getting around them as fast as you can.
There you see Daniel Suarez up to second place now. That Trackhouse car is doing a tremendous job here, recovering after another rough start to the season. There's quite a few guys here that have had trouble in both races. I mean, of course, I feel like everybody at the Daytona Road Course had trouble at least at some point, I mean, there was so many issues there. We saw like at least a 10-car accident at some point out of that final chicane. But as they go down the back straightaway now, you're seeing William Byron come into the picture here as we go down into turns 3. And his car has destroyed another driver that hasn't had a great start to the season. As Larson is going to be the first one to get at him. He might catch him in a decent spot here as they go down into turns 1. Sure enough, Larson's not going to have any issues. Suarez probably the one that's going to get messed over a little bit. Yeah, he's going to get held up quite a bit. So Chase Elliott, he moves himself now up into the 3rd position. But Jay, we have like probably a now 7-car breakaway, and I feel like pretty much everybody on back doesn't even seem to have just enough speed to even contend with these guys.
Yeah, not at all. There's just pretty much 7 or so clean cars in this race. The rest are all just damaged and just trying to scrape whatever they can and get the best finish that they can. As we see a guy like, I think that's Garrett Smithley there in the 53, being able to pull away from Ricky Stenhouse, Anthony Alfredo, Alex Bowman. So that just shows the kind of damage these guys have. And when a guy like Garrett Smithley running in a Rick Ware car is able to run himself in 9th place in this race. So yeah, it's certainly going to be pretty much those top 7 guys, and then the rest of the field just scrounging whenever they can out of this race.
You see the 47 make a move up the inside of the 53 as they go down into turn 3. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is just going to be an interesting race to watch for that kind of top 10 here at the end of the stage. Now 20 laps time before stage 1 comes to an end. Definitely makes me interested to see, Jay, what this third and final stage is going to be like. I feel like we're in for a quite interesting final stage, to say the least.
Yeah, those last 80 laps or so, we'll start getting as they're. Oh man, that was close for Hamlin. But yeah, that third and final stage, if it stays green the whole way through, that's going to be 80 laps of trying to negotiate your way around basically a whole field of very slow lap cars, and especially once these leaders start catching that group of, what was it, 8 or 9 cars that are semi-competitive but not at all compared to the leaders. That's going to be a big giant mess for them to get around if they catch them in the final stage. The only thing that I can think of is maybe those guys are hoping to get some more damage fixed under the stage caution, and maybe we'll see them get a little bit more competitive, but I don't think there's any way any of those guys who currently have damage can compete with these top 7 guys.
Yeah, there you see now Larson, Elliott, Hamlin going at it for the lead here as they go through the center of 1 and out of turns 2. Now we got a bit of a 3-car breakaway with these lap cars, but I mean, already, once we got 1 lap car out of the way, well, you see we got a whole pack of lap cars that is going to have to be dealt with here within the next few laps or so, as they're just about, I'd say, a straightaway, not even a straightaway anymore, behind here as they go down this front straightaway. So Elliott out in front over that number 5 of Larson and Hamlin, who are just right on the back of them here. As just a little bit further down, we got 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Custer, Suarez, De Benedetto, as well as Chris Buescher. I remember Chris Buescher, he actually showed up in the Clash, ran pretty well, and here he is now having a good run in the 3rd race of the season. But other than that, he's had a bit of a struggle as well this season.
If I remember correctly, I think he was running pretty decently at the road course as well, and then may have been caught up in one of the multitudes of wrecks that we had there. As we saw in, oh man,
wow.
They get really close and they go to make the 3-wide move. If these 3 keep racing like this and those 4 guys back there stay in that straight line, like we saw in stage 1, and certainly also with the lap cars up ahead, I think those 4 guys can catch these 3 here pretty darn quickly, because once they get in a straight line, they're a whole lot faster than these 3 are if they're going to be jockeying for position.
And there you see now Larson up front, and he's coming up. Here's where it's going to get really interesting. Into turns 1, and that just about turned into something like an incident there, but oh my goodness, we have a lot of cars. Kurt Busch is back into the mix as well as they go down the back straightaway. Where are they going to go, and are they going to keep it clean here as they go down into turns 3? So far, so good. Now as Larson looks up the inside of the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., we saw Truex cause a huge incident earlier. Fortunately, that doesn't happen this time now, but Hamlin, I don't know, he's going to get stuck in behind the 19. He made a big mistake right there. Should have went to the inside like the 9 car just did, and he's going to pay the price and drop down into that 3rd position. But fortunately now, they kind of get settled through the traffic here, and we're going to take this opportunity now here in Homestead, Miami, to go for a quick break and come back here and get the end of this 2nd stage for you guys. So we'll be right back in just a few moments here from Homestead Miami Speedway. And we're back here from Homestead Miami Speedway, lap 74 of 161. Kyle Larson still leads. They've been working their way through the lap traffic. Now less than 10 laps to go here in the 2nd stage. Now as they work up the inside of the 62 of Noah Gragson there. Honestly, Jay, the way this is looking, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a leader or something actually take themselves out by trying to pass a lap car here.
Yeah, they're not wanting to sit behind these guys at all, and the lap guys are not wanting to get out of the way, as we've seen so far. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe, they catch one of those packs of, 8 or 9 lap cars that are all trying to race themselves, and these leaders come up on them and want to find a way to get around them, and these guys don't want to move, and the leaders try to make something happen, and it results in contact and a wreck. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if something like that happens. But I tell you what will happen is we'll have a lot of lead changes, and a lot of guys get held up and have to fight and claw their way back up to the lead from getting stuck behind these slow cars.
And there you see the 11 now, right on the back of the 5. Elliott in the mix. I mean, it's been the same 3 drivers kind of in a breakaway here this whole 2nd stage as they close up on the back of the 1 of Kurt Busch for about the 10th time here already in stage 2. And once again, yeah, those lap cars don't like to move out of the way, and all of a sudden, here we got the 41 of Cole Custer into the mix here, has a chance to maybe steal a stage 1. Suarez as well, the 17, the 21. De Benedetto hasn't really been in the mix here up for the lead lately, but now he's back into it. We got Larson who's still stuck behind the one car of Kurt Busch. And Jay, I think back to Daytona, the oval for the 500. Larson had that same situation where he had a fast car and got messed over just by being stuck behind traffic.
I'm sure. I'm sure we're a few races into this season, and Kyle Larson probably never wants to see a lap car again. He had the dominant car in the 500, and so far today he's had certainly one of the fastest cars in the field, and he just gets messed over by a lap car again. Same thing that happened in the 500. So he probably is absolutely fed up with lap cars and doesn't want to see another one for the rest of the season, which of course we know it's going to keep happening in probably every single one of these races, unfortunately.
So now approaching actually the final lap here in stage two. Hamlin, Elliott, Custer, Suarez, and the 17 of Chris Buescher rounds out your top five. Matt Benedetto there in P6. We're going to get ready to type in the caution command because they, like I said, have to race it back to the line here. So we're going to bring it up right now as they cross the line. White flag in the air. They race it back here. So this is the final lap underway in stage two. Denny Hamlin once again leads the way. He won stage one, picked up playoff points, 10 stage points, but this could get awkward right here. This is going to be it. Oh, the 51 holds up the 11, and Elliott goes by on the inside, and Hamlin's going to drop out of the top three. Suarez goes by on the inside. Custer now into second place, and Hamlin nearly gets turned by the 17 as they come through out of turns 4 and the 9 of Chase Elliott comes through to pick up the first or the second stage victory here in Homestead Miami. Jay, a bit of a change of events there on that last lap.
Certainly what we were talking about just happened with they need to catch the lap cars at the right time and get around them, and Chase Elliott unfortunately did not do that at all. Not Chase Elliott, sorry, Denny Hamlin didn't do that at all. Gets stuck behind Cody Ware, goes into turn 3, almost gets turned by Chris Buescher coming to the green white checkered, but fortunate for him, he was able to make the save and keep it in 4th place. Unfortunate for him, though, that he lost the victory, lost the stage win, and now he's going to have to fight his way to get back up to the top.
And now, so Elliott picks up a playoff point. Hamlin ended up getting P4 there. The 10th place car was actually the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The 43 of Eric Jones was up in the top 10. Newman as well. Kyle Larson ended up settling for 7th. Fortunately, just kind of how much things have calmed down, we didn't have no stack up there. So that was at least one of the good things. Now is everybody, of course, on the pit lane. We're going to bring the pit stops to you and then go for another break and get ready to go here. So, I mean, Jay, after the big pileup, I mean, other than the lap traffic being in the mix, a very calm stage 2 compared to what we had there in stage 1.
Calm as in there was no wrecks, yeah, but it was I won't say exciting. It was interesting to watch these guys have to navigate their way around lap cars, and I think that's what's going to pretty much be the rest of this race is just navigating your way through slow cars, and the one who can do it the best is going to be the one who wins this race.
And, I mean, we saw Hamlin struggle there right at the end of the stage on the final lap. I mean, led a majority of stage 2. Final lap, everything falls apart. And then he nearly got turned by the 17. I saw some contact made, but fortunately, he would hang on to it there. As you see now, the lap traffic, they're going to come into the pit lane. And then we are going to go for a quick break here, though, at Homestead Miami and come back in time for the restart here to get underway for the third and final stage. We're back here in Homestead, Miami with this on board from the 17 of Chris Buescher, who nearly probably ended Denny Hamlin's day right there in turn 3. Nearly hooks him around. He almost went, but fortunately they both save it and keep on going. And now we are ready to get going here for the third and final stage in Homestead, Miami. Back to the live scene here at Homestead, Miami, getting ready to go green for the third and final stage. Chase Elliott, who stole the stage 2 victory from Denny Hamlin, now out front as stage 3 is underway here in Homestead, Miami. And Jay, I think if Denny Hamlin can stay out of trouble here, I honestly think he's my favorite potentially to win this race. What about you? Who do you got here as we get ready to go here in this final stage?
I still have Larson as my favorite to win this race, but I think it really can be any one of these top 7 or so guys that don't have damage, because honestly, like we have seen and like we've talked about, they have to find a perfect moment to get around these lap cars. And with this being an 80 lap stage, 80 or so laps, it's going to be really, really imperative for these guys to find their way through, because we're going to see them get through at least all of these guys at least one time. So it'll be interesting to watch and see who can navigate these guys the best. Wow, De Benedetto is really caught up here. This is really, really, really not good for him.
Gotta feel bad for him now as he has a car that's in good shape. I don't know what got him back there because he was, of course, in the top 10 there at the end of stage 2, and he's kind of held up behind the 24 of William Byron now. Very unfortunate all around for him as we go through the field up towards the front. So Kyle Larson's actually taking the lead here in Miami now, as it's potentially going to be 3 wide between Denny Hamlin, Cole Custer, as well as Chase Elliott. And Jay, you were just mentioning Kyle Larson being your pick here, doing a great job out front now in Homestead Miami as Daniel Suarez 3 wide with the 9 and the 17 into turns 3 now, as there you see Suarez is actually going to get clear of the 9 of Elliott. And Jay, I think Suarez, another guy I'm looking at, he's just been slowly but surely just closing his way in towards the front. Now here he is up inside the top 5, putting pressure on the back of the 11.
He's been lurking this entire race and making moves this entire race and just kind of sitting right there waiting for his moment to go and take the lead and try and run away with this thing. So it won't be surprising at all to me if he does eventually take the lead of this race and you know, maybe just eke out his first career win here. But one thing I'm surprised to see is De Benedetto still stuck behind these guys. I think what happened on the initial restart is they went into turn 1 and he found himself behind somebody who was just really slow. Like maybe there was a gap in between some of those slower cars, and so he thought he was going to take the inside and then got himself stuck behind some lap cars. And now he's fallen even way farther back. So this is really not good for him. And if he wants to have any chance of doing something else in this race, he's gonna need a caution.
And now just making a pass on Bubba Wallace for 9th. He's closing in on the back of the 8-car Reddick to move in to the 8th position. Back up front, though, we got Daniel Suarez now making a move for 3rd as Hamlin's back up the inside of Kyle Larson to move back out in front here as they go down the back straightaway into turns 3. So definitely watch out for Daniel Suarez here, doing a great job. I mean, we got both of these new teams currently up inside of the top 10 with the 99 of Suarez as well as the 23 of Bubba Wallace, who I don't think has a great car today, but he's kind of salvaged getting through, or he's done a good job getting through all of this chaos, and he's still got a bunch of damage on his car, but here he is running up in P10. Matt Benedetto has actually moved up into the 8th position. Fastest laps of the day, surprisingly. Ryan Newman, Jay, has the fastest lap here. As Suarez, you look at this group of cars right here, and out of the fastest laps run, Daniel Suarez has that lap, and I look through the rest. Kyle Larson's the next closest one, and then I don't think I see anybody in this pack other than Suarez and Larson that are in the top 10 for the fastest lap. So I think maybe Suarez really could have something here in the long run, Jay.
Certainly could. The one thing I'll look at there with that with the fastest laps is there's not a lot of separation there at all. So these guys are running relatively like the same lap times and not running that far apart. So the fastest lap time may not be that big of a deal, but I'll tell you one thing that's unfortunate is Ryan Newman has the fastest lap and he's got a lot of damage to the rear end. You can see him still kind of hanging on to the back of those the lead pack. And then Kyle Busch has a second fastest lap just off of Newman, and his car's demolished. He has no chance for the rest of the day. So really unfortunate for Kyle Busch to continue his very bad start to the season, showing that he has a fast car today and just not able to do anything with it with all the damage that he has.
And there you see the 5 of Larson going by, and everybody appears to be going by here, hopefully on the inside. Yes, it's now just a single file train. I can't say I'm surprised. Still over 60 laps to go in this race, and I'm sure these guys here up in the top 5 or so just kind of want to just kind of hang out, make it to the end of this race, and make sure they're in the mix now. As you actually see the 41, as I say that, of Cole Custer go up the inside of Denny Hamlin. It is a 6-car breakaway, and these 6 cars just so happen to be closing in on the back of Kurt Busch. But Jay, you look back there, Matt Benedetto now up the inside of Newman, so he moves now into the 7th position, and I think that 21's got a good enough speed in the car. He could definitely make something happen, but of course now at this point, he is about 6.5 seconds behind the main pack. I think he's probably going to need a caution if he's going to be able to do anything.
I would think so as well, but I'm going to keep an eye on that time because he's got himself, Tyler Reddick, and Austin Dillon. It looks like all 3 of them don't have damage, and so they're now the 3 lead cars of this pack. And it's highly possible that those 3 guys can maybe pull this pack around and have some decent speed, and they might be able to catch this lead pack. I kind of doubt it, but Uh, you know, it's highly possible, especially when they get caught up like this behind a really slow guy like Kurt Busch. So, of course, they'll have to navigate their way through these slow guys at some point as well. But man, Daniel Suarez really getting the short end of the stick there from Kurt Busch. Kurt not wanting to move out of the way at all.
Hamlin up the inside of the 5 of Larson into turn 1, and as well, we still have, like I said, over 60 laps to go. Jay, that also means that if it stays green, we will have a green flag pit stop coming here. So, I mean, I don't really know what the fuel window is, probably somewhere between maybe lap 130 to maybe 140. I'm thinking somewhere in there, do you think?
These guys pitted around lap 81 or so to get, I believe, 4 fresh tires and fuel. And I'm
Oh,
gonna
maybe lap
guess,
120.
yeah, I'm gonna guess maybe their fuel run is between somewhere between 40 and 50 something laps. So yeah, 120, 150, or 150, 130, somewhere around in there is probably when we're gonna see them pit. And I imagine they'll only have to do one more stop to get to the end of this race.
Going to be interesting to see what their strategy is going to be for that now, as you see Larson up on the far outside going down a few spots. So the 41 now moves up into second place as they continue to duel it out here in this top 6. Now is Matt DiBenedetto coming up on the back of the 1, and well, there you see it right there. All that progress DiBenedetto has been working at gets destroyed as he's going to fall behind the 3, the 8, and the 43. Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones all go by on the inside. So now he loses 3 spots just like that. And you were mentioning, Jay, all those cars right there, all look in pretty good shape. And I noticed the timing, that lap they did close, but at the same time they also had to work their way up in front of them through Kurt Busch. So it'll be interesting to see now that all of these guys have gotten away from the lap traffic for a few laps to see what that gap does, because now it is now over 7 seconds between 7th and that front pack. But with these guys battling it out here like this with Larson and Hamlin, of course that's going to give them an opportunity now. As you see the 17 of Chris Buescher, he's kept his car clean all day and now finds himself up in the mix down the front straightaway. Though you see what's happening here. We got William Byron, we got Ryan Blaney, we got Martin Truex Jr. as well, who are all going to become a factor right now. Is there 3 wide? We haven't seen some 3 wide in a little bit now there. Elliott was up the inside of the 17 and the 11. The 11 got a very bad end of that one now as we come through down this back straightaway here into turns 3. So Hamlin now drops in behind the 41 of Cole Custer. So Larson leads over second place of Chris Buescher. But here we go. It's going to get really interesting down this front straightaway. They're going to go to the inside into turns 1, up the inside of the 12 of Larson, or up the inside of the 12 of Blaney goes Kyle Larson, as well as William Byron, and they keep it clean, fortunately, here as we exit turn 2, and actually it looks like they're going to get through these guys with no problem at all. So once again, though, here in Homestead Miami Speedway, we're going to go for a very quick break and come back to you guys in a few laps and take you hopefully to the end of this race here and what could be a green flag run to the end of this thing. So we'll be back in just a few moments here from Homestead Miami Speedway. And we are back here from Amped at Homestead Miami Speedway just as these drivers catch some traffic up in front of them. Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain, as well as Kyle Busch here as they come through out of turn 4. Denny Hamlin going to go by on the inside. It's actually going to be 3 wide right here with a couple lap cars. That's a little bit scary now as you also got Cody Ware is going to be up in the mix. 3 wide back here, though, between the 5 of Larson, the 41 of Custer, and the 9 of Elliott. And now they catch Cody Ware. This is just a big mess right here, but somehow they're all going to keep it going in the right direction as we continue here on this green flag run now. So Hamlin leads over Daniel Suarez. Now I'm sure, Jay, Daniel Suarez really wants to put that 99 car out in the lead for the first time for that team.
Oh, you know, he is really excited right now to have this chance to put that team out front, give them their first laps led, and potentially get them their first win and get his first win. So he is really wanting to make that move on Hamlin, I'm sure, but it seems like at the moment he's not going to be able to do it. It seems like Hamlin may just be able to be that much faster than these guys since he's not having to run 2 wide, and these guys are now even 3 wide actually with Cole Custer. Man, that guy in that outside line, when you're 3 wide, he just has no advantage. He loses everything, and unfortunately for Larson, he's going to have to make everything up again.
Yeah, it seems like even with when the tires were and whatnot, you just can't really seem to do anything. I'm sure we're closing in now on that pit window as they come through out of turns 2. Suarez really just been kind of in P2 behind Hamlin for quite some time now. Denny Hamlin definitely has had control at points in this race. That just about turned into a bit of an incident there into turn 3. The 17 and the 99 were kind of going for the same spot on the track. Fortunately, that doesn't turn into anything, but we also once again have a Garrett Smithley that the field is now coming up on here, and every single lap car that they come up on always just presents an opportunity for disaster. We saw Hamlin's race nearly get ended there on that final lap in stage 2 after he got held up by some lap traffic, then nearly got taken out in the corner by the 17 of Chris Buescher. But now Kyle Larson goes to second. Suarez, he drops down to P6, and that just shows, Jay, how important getting to the right spot at the right time is, because it was just within one lap he goes from second to P6.
Yeah, these guys really want to run that bottom, and when you don't run that bottom, you are at a big disadvantage. As Hamlin might catch this lap car in the right spot, and no one else will. Larson might, but it looks like he's going to hold himself up. Nope, Larson gets past. Larson and Chris Buescher will get past. Unfortunately, Custer's going to get forced up to be behind him here, so he's probably going to fall behind Suarez. But one thing we haven't, well, never mind. As soon as I'm going to say it, they've now lost time. I was going to mention that the 21-3 and 8 that Hall gained about a second or so on these lead lap guys, but now they've lost time again. So I don't think there's any chance of these guys catching them. Gary and I were talking about it, thinking that maybe they could do it. I don't think there's any chance of it happening now. They're certainly going to need a caution for any of them to be competitive.
And oh wow, the 53 actually drives down in front of the 99. I would not be very happy about that. Hamlin actually drops down to P3. That's the worst he's running a little bit here. Now as Chris Buescher's even up the inside of Larson. Suarez still stuck behind Garrett Smithley as they go down into turn 1, and he needs to make this move quick, because if he ends up getting disconnected from the draft, we can pretty much write him off. But it's surprisingly, the 53 is not really dropping too far back right now. It almost seems like that draft is really helping him out. It'll be interesting to see if he does once again that right there. He stays in front of the 99. Suarez needs to get this. Oh man, that was close there, but he gets to the inside, does exactly what he needs to do, and he is going to be still within that draft there, so he's going to be okay now. But I mean, the way it's looking right now, Jay, my guess is I don't see any cautions coming out at this point. I think we're staying green to the end. I don't know what you think.
I think we'll stay green to the end. The only way a caution may come out is if these lead lap guys, like we discussed before, these lead lap guys want to get around the really slow cars, and maybe some kind of incident happens where they're just being too aggressive to get around them. So I think that's the only way a caution will come out. We don't really have that many guys competing with each other at the moment, so it's all just, you know, little 3-4 car packs aside from these lead 6 or so guys. So I don't think we will have a caution. I think it will stay green. It just won't surprise me either, though. Maybe if, you know, one of these leaders gets caught up with a lap car trying to get around them.
And I mean, it certainly could happen right here. We've got a pack of 3 or 4 cars. Kurt Busch so off the pace, and it still surprises me. I mean, his car looks so much better than that 24 car who just blew his doors off. So it's very interesting to see how that's affecting Cody Ware as well. Actually, is dressed up in fun. This could get interesting here. Hamlin gets shuffled back, works his way back to the front, doing some great things. Of course, Kevin Harvick's not going to go 3 in a row today, obviously. He's done for after that early crash in stage 1. Hamlin, oh, Larson got messed over there. Hamlin goes through and has a good lead, actually, into turns 3 now, as the 12 of Blaney there with Truex. This is where I think we're really in for something to get interesting, as Cody Ware, he's up on the outside, is going to hold up Truex. Buescher decides to commit to the outside. That's probably a big mistake there as we go down into turn 1 now, as the 41 is going to move up into second place. And the 24, they don't want to move. The 17, look at that. He is going to get really messed over now as they go down the back straightaway. And Jay, this is exactly what we don't want to see. 2 lap cars side by side right in front of you.
Certainly don't want to see that at all. And so far this season, Larson's biggest enemy has been lap cars. Once again, getting caught behind Kurt Busch, now able to make his way up thanks to other lap cars. But yeah, these guys are just doing exactly what we've talked about, just sitting right in front of them and not moving. And it's even worse when you have them 2 or even 3 wide, and there's just no lane to get around them. You have to sit behind them and either get aggressive and shove your nose in there and put yourself in a situation you really don't want to be in, or just sit behind it and wait for your opportunity. And we know the drivers don't want to do that either. So these guys, these lap cars are making a really big issue so far for these leaders today.
Maybe today could be the day, actually, where the lap traffic ends up being Kyle Larson's helping hand here to potentially pick up win number 1 of the season. Daniel Suarez now drops down to P5. Larson made a move there for third. The 17, oh no, he doesn't actually have damage, I don't think. I can't tell. The game's being a little bit weird, but the 5 up the inside of the 41. He made that pass on the 17 to get the third, and now he's going for second place as Hamlin's going to catch Corey LaJoie through the center of 3, and 4, and he's going to get up the inside of him there, and Larson's going to follow through. Now Cole Custer is going to get the short end of that stick, and Suarez is going to go back by on the inside. So you also look at now 7th place on back. They've been hovering around the 10 seconds back or so for a little bit now, just between at least the 21 and the 3. The 8 car has actually fallen off quite a bit, but you see the top 10 on your screen. Not a lot's been happening back there, so we've really just been keeping the cameras on this battle right here as Kyle Larson now goes up to the inside. I mean, Jay, with now less than 40 laps to go, both of our 2 picks are the ones actually running up here in P1 and P2, so I mean, it clearly looks like we picked the right guys.
Yeah, not surprising to me at all. We know Larson has had a pretty fast car so far this season. It's just lap cars keep getting in his way. So if he can keep his nose clean and do that for the rest of this race, get around those lap cars really, really well while these other guys don't, then he will easily win this race, I think, in my opinion. I think so far he has, if not the best car, right behind the best car with Hamlin. Hamlin certainly, in my opinion, either has the best car or the second best. So it's between him and Larson, I think, going to be for the rest of this race, unless they get unfortunately caught up by a lap car and somebody like Daniel Suarez or Chase Elliott or Cole Custer goes around and is able to take an opportunity of the lap cars being in the way.
I think the 99 and the 9, their best opportunity is going to be lap traffic kind of playing into a factor against that 11 and the 5 as Hamlin has now been caught by the 99 of Suarez as it go down the front straightaway. Lap 129 of 161 underway here at Homestead. As we kind of look through the field right now, look at all this. This is down the back straightaway going into turn 3. You got David Reagan, who we forgot to actually take out. We got to do that at some point. The 47, the 96, the 62, the 40 or 54. But look at this pack of cars right here. And once everyone that's up front gets to this is where I think if we are going to get a caution, this is where it's going to come from right here. Now is I mean, these guys are trying to go at it right now. Tyler Reddick has been dropping quite a bit. Alex Bowman now has actually moved into the top 10 as they go 3 wide. Bubba Wallace there is 11th place, and it's hard to believe that's for 10th place because they're only maybe a straightaway ahead or so of drivers like Denny Hamlin as well as Kyle Larson and Daniel Suarez now, but it looks like they're all going to keep it clean. But Cody Ware right in the way of that 43 of Eric Jones, but fortunately they all get going here now as we look back. Hamlin still trying to put some pressure on the back of the 5 of Kyle Larson. Daniel Suarez taking a bit of a look there into turns 1 and thinks a little bit better of it as he went into the corner. Now 31 laps to go. When we get back to the line, it will be 30 to go. So Jay, I mean, we thought the pit window was about 120 to 130, so we just now made it past 130. I really don't know. I don't have an idea of when they're going to pit, but there's no way they can make it to the end.
No, there's no possible way they can make it to the end. I have to think these guys will be pitting pretty soon. They're probably in their window now. And I mean, they've been actually really in the window to make it to the end of the race. So I'm kind of surprised we didn't see anybody play a little bit of strategy and maybe try a short pit. But maybe at the same time, these guys think the tire wear isn't that big of an issue, so they want to go as long as they can and take as little fuel as they can. So I have to think we'll see these guys pitting pretty soon. But there was one thing I was going to touch on, and now I can't remember what it was. The 21 and the 3. They have broken away from the 48 and the 8 and all that group, so I'm not too sure what got them caught up, but obviously the 21 and the 3 are, wow, Larson getting messed over again.
Yep.
Man, he hates lap cars. This has been terrible for him these first 3 races. Oh,
Side by side.
that guy behind that wheel.
He was side by side for the lead down the front straightaway. One straightaway later, he finds himself down in the 6th position now here in Miami, and I mean, this is the most separated I think we've seen the top 6. Of course, before a few laps go by, it's going to get closed back up now as Hamlin over to the front in front of the 9 of Chase Elliott. Now as once again down the back straightaway, we got Chastain, the 14 of Briscoe, the 1 of Kurt Busch that these guys are going to have to deal with. And then we got this group of cars right here. I'm most interested to see what's going to happen when drivers like Hamlin and them get to this group of cars right here, Jay. I think that's going to be their biggest challenge all day right here.
Yeah, it will be. This was the pack I was mentioning earlier that they would have an issue getting around, and if there was going to be a caution come out, like you said as well, then this is going to be where it happens, trying to get around these guys. These guys are still semi-competitive. Obviously, you know, you can see that it's taken these leaders a long time to get to them, so they still have some speed compared to the leaders, and it's probably going to be a big struggle for them to get around, especially considering the amount of cars there. So it wouldn't surprise me to see these leaders want to get desperate and try and force their way through, and it could cause a caution. As now Kurt Busch is going to hold up Chase Elliott, and we might see Cole Custer go to the lead right here.
Or the
Nope, he's
one
going to go down
might.
and block the inside line.
Yeah, he can't choose. Hamlin's going to try and do exactly what's not going to work. He goes to the middle, and now he's going to get held up right behind that one car. And then we got two cars side by side. Kyle Larson sends it to the inside by Hamlin, drops back down side by side. Larson's coming into the pit lane, actually. So that's the first car to come into the pit lane. A bit of a strategy call there, and that might be the right call, Jay. He's not going to have to deal with these lap cars right here. So this could be a great call as we have other ones in as well.
That's a very smart call by Larson and his crew. Get him down before he has to deal with these lap cars. Get him into the pits, get him on fresh tires, and I'm going to be interested to see if that gives him a bit of a gap when he comes out of pit road here. And if it does, if he can navigate his way around these lap cars, he may have just won this race based on pit strategy.
Suarez, Elliott as well coming into the pit lane. Hamlin, Custer, and the 17 of Buescher, they all stay out. You have a whole bunch of cars coming in as well. Kyle Larson still in his pit box. He's just coming out now. I guess I don't know if that was a slow stop or not, but it seemed a little bit long to me. I could be wrong, of course. But you see the rest of the traffic here. So I'm guessing we're going to see a driver like Hamlin. He's got to come in any moment, but no. These front three decide to stay on. They're going to keep going at it here now as they're going to go four wide for a moment. That could have gotten a little bit sketchy, but they keep it clean now as we look through the field. So Elliott, I guess Larson didn't have a slow stop. It was just me being wrong because they had the same length there with the 9 and the 99 as they come out of their pit boxes now. So I would expect now, Jay, these guys got to come in as soon as possible here because they cannot stay out too long. It's just going to give the race away at this point.
It's quite surprising to see these guys still out there, as it looks like Custer may be coming into pit road. Nope, no, he's not. So it's really surprising to see these guys stay out there. I'm not too sure their reasoning. A, they're staying behind lap cars, and B, they're letting the three that pitted run away basically with fresh tires. So I'm not too sure the reasoning for this. This is kind of silly to me. I'm not too sure why their crew chiefs aren't calling them to pit road.
I think they're throwing the race away because, I mean, the 99 of Suarez, Elliott, they should absolutely be able to get up there, as well as Kyle Larson, who was the first one to come into the pit lane once again. None of them come into the pit lane, so very interesting calls, and they're also closing in on more lap traffic. That's just going to hold them up even more here in Miami, so it'll be interesting to see what happens as we look down through the field.
I'm curious to see, Gary. See if you can find Larson. There you go. So he's right there with Suarez, so he doesn't really get the advantage that I was thinking that he would. But he's got clear track. He's got clear track, and the leaders don't. At least it's clear for now. So this could play out huge for Larson with these guys not pitting yet, and Larson potentially being able to stay with a clear track and run away from these guys.
These guys stay out yet another lap. So these three clearly on a completely different strategy. The 19 of Truex just now pitting. But, I mean, Larson, Suarez, I think it's going to work out really well for them, as well as Chase Elliott here once these guys do decide to pit. And we did see them closing in on some traffic there earlier. But you see Suarez and Larson getting by the 18. They clearly got by the 1. The 9 car of Chase Elliott a little bit disconnected there, and he's getting held up behind the 1 car. So he's going to really have to be pushing it now because, I mean, if he doesn't get on it, he could find himself way behind here, as now actually the same 3 drivers, Custer, Buescher, Hamlin, continue to stay out with less than 20 laps to go. And I mean, Jay, you got to look at it this way. I guess if they end up getting a caution or something, I mean, they're in great shape because, of course, with no lucky dogs in this game. I mean, I believe we might have a waiver on. Is actually Hamlin, though. That completely is irrelevant now because here they are coming into the pit lane now, as we actually have the 41 of Cole Custer staying out on the track. But I mean, I guess what you believe here they do 4 tires, maybe even try a 2-tire stop, Jay?
I think I've seen every single driver so far take 2 tires, so I'm guessing the tire wear is not a huge factor
Caution.
at all. Because wow, that is a huge advantage for the 41, the 21 even maybe. Actually, no, I think he.
DeBenedetto's on the pitted. DeBenedetto stayed out. He's 5th.
Wow, that is huge. That is huge, and oh, that's so unfortunate for somebody like Kyle Larson.
Denny Hamlin, I mean, great call. There's cars running into each other again. Oh my God, here we go. Larson and Suarez right there in the mix, as well as Elliott's got some front end damage, but the 21 huge incident.
Oh my!
And Matt DiBenedetto just threw his race away. Kyle Larson's gonna get by. Suarez gets by. What in the world just happened? Matt Benedetto in position finally to have an opportunity, and he just full sent into turn 3 and crashed himself as the caution is out here in Homestead Miami Speedway. We don't know what the caution's for, but Matt Benedetto, Jay, I don't know what he was thinking right there. He just saw it into there and just wrecked himself.
Ah, I don't have any. I don't have an explanation for that one. Wow, that was truly dumb. De Benedetto finally got the break that he was looking for, and what does he do? Sends it full throttle into a line of cars and just completely destroys himself. And that smoke is saying to me that his engine is basically blown and his day is over.
I don't know what to say. Chase Elliott, he's got some damage. The 99 of Daniel Suarez, as well as the 5 of Larson, they actually are in solid shape, surprisingly. Denny Hamlin, he was on the pit lane. He avoided everything, but we still have this going on right here, and I can confirm we will not be using this track next season. We'll be finding a different Homestead Miami, but it's going to be interesting to see. Everyone seems to be keeping it clean there, but as far as we're concerned, Hamlin, he's still in the lead lap. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but now we got to find out what in the world has brought out the caution here in Homestead Miami. So while we figure that out, we're going to go to a quick break and come back at you and see what in the world just all happened here in Homestead Miami. Back from Homestead Miami here, as you saw what happened under caution with the 78 of BJ McLeod having a bit of a pileup, and then Matt Benedetto, he's going to full send into turn 3 right here and cause a huge incident there. You see debris get littered on the track, and speaking of debris, we have concluded that was the reason for the caution here in Homestead Miami. So now this is going to set up for a late race restart here in Miami now, as we got, I believe, the 41 of Cole Custer who leads the way here for the last restart. Back to the live scene here in Miami, getting ready to go green. You see it's actually double file. There's a lot of weird stuff going on right now. Apparently, we got 10 cars on the lead lap, but there's more than 10 cars in that outside line. It's very weird. We're going to, of course, have a better idea of what's going on. Probably after a couple of laps or so here on this restart. But Jay, Kyle Larson now in, the best position possible to go win this race.
No, he's not actually in the best position possible to win this race. He's got to catch back up to the leaders. He is, yeah, he's not the leader right now. He is behind the leaders technically, but while in front of them on track. So he's going to be about 20 something seconds behind the leader when everything gets settled out here. The only advantage for him is he's the first car and he can run away without getting stuck behind these lap cars. While the leaders, as you can already see, they're having to deal with them, are going to be stuck behind these slow guys.
Yeah, that's a mistake on my end. So the 41 actually leading over second place to Denny Hamlin. The 17 is in third, and Austin Dillon is in fourth, who's about to be third at this point now. As you see, Cole Custer. So all of a sudden, then I guess Jay, Cole Custer's in the best spot to win this race. But we got a huge pack of cars. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, at this point if we end up having another caution.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. Is Cole Custer right now? He got away, and there's no competition around him. The 11 got really screwed, and the 17 got hurt just as bad. So it's really, really, really unfortunate for those two. But for Cole Custer, he basically has a free ticket to go and win this race as long as these guys don't get in his way, which I'm surprised to see Suarez actually kind of struggling right now. 3 wide, almost. If he doesn't get out of here, he's going to go back a lap down. And I'm quite surprised to see Larson actually not really running away from these guys either.
So these guys just hoping for a caution as soon as possible, of course, now as Larson out in front of the pack, but Cole Custer leads the way. And that 17 and the 11, they need to be on it here because if Cole Custer gets in front of these guys, he's going to be gone, and there's going to be no way of catching them because they're going to all have to still work their way through this lap traffic. And you see right here, the 17, the 11, they're trying to get there. But at this point, Cole Custer continuing to make some moves. I think he's got this thing at this point now. If it stays green, no pressure whatsoever for Cole Custer. Not waiting around either, making it 3 wide there as he comes through out of turns 2. Now, with how crazy this race has been, I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow ends up crashing here before it's over now as they go down into turn 3. And now he only has 3 cars left to pass as he gets up the inside of number 3 right there, Ryan Newman, in that 6th car, and he's going to make it now down to 2 cars he needs to get by to just get away from the field and run away here now as we have 10 laps to go in Homestead Miami. Daniel Suarez not waiting around. He's going 3 wide in the middle there. He knows what's at stake now. No lucky dog in NR2003, so he needs to be on the move. And Jay, if I'm Cole Custer, this is exactly what you don't want right here, having these guys race you like this.
You don't want to see it at all if you're Cole Custer, but I'm surprised to see so far for Daniel Suarez struggling to stay in front of the leader. I was expecting him and Larson to kind of run away with it, and really even Larson doing the same thing, but Custer right now is looking in his mirror and seeing all those cars behind him and saying, thank goodness, I don't want to see that 17 or the 11 get through them, and if they do, while Custer's still stuck behind these 3 cars, then the 17 and the 11 are going to be right back in this thing. But I'll be surprised, honestly, if they are able to challenge Custer here. I think Custer's going to get through these guys and easily just get a free ride to the victory.
3 wide for second place between the 11 and the 17 as they go down into turn 1. Very close quarters there, but Custer now has Suarez and Larson to get through, and Hamlin, if he can get to that inside, maybe the 23 here, and then just get going here, he's got an opportunity now, so there's not a whole lot of cars between him and the now 41 of Cole Custer, who leads the way. So there you see Hamlin making a move up the inside of that 41. It's a lot harder to pass some of these cars right here because these are decent cars that these guys are trying to pass that just got had a poorly timed caution and, of course, put them back in the position that they are in. So Hamlin, right behind the now 8 of Tyler Reddick, looks up the inside of him. And Jay, what we're seeing now is the amount of cars between Custer and that second place driver of Denny Hamlin are decreasing.
Very, very, very surprising to me that Suarez is still putting up a really good fight there with Custer, but at the same time I say that, do we expect anything less out of guys who are going to go a lap down? So, it's not surprising to me so far to see Hamlin working their way through these guys a lot better than Custer did, because we know how good of a car Hamlin has. Hamlin has probably the fastest car in the field right there with Larson, so he may be able to cut through these guys and easily get up to Custer here, as Larson's going to get slowed down heavily by
in front of the 41.
Who's going to slow down the leader, and Hamlin may be in prime position here.
Now no, it's going to be the 17.
Now he's in the bad spot.
Oh,
so
Hamlin.
Now these guys are going to be really, really racy. So Buscher's still in second. Hamlin just got really, 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 really messed over, and I think that's
still messed over.
Done. But Chris Buescher now is right with Cole Custer. So we now have a race for the lead as Hamlin is still stuck behind Ware.
Yeah, that ends Hamlin's day. No chance to win.
Hamlin's got to be seething right now.
Absolutely.
That's unfortunate.
Between now the 41 and the 14, the 41 and the 17 for the win. And now at this point, next flag ends the race. If a caution comes out, that's going to be the race over here as they go down the back straightaway. So can the 17 make something happen here? Kurt Busch in the way. The 17 tries to go low, but the 9 car takes up that hole. And now Cole Custer gets in. And just like that, the 17 is going to get held up again. And the 6 cars right to the back of him. And now there's 2 cars between the now 41 and the 17 as we come through to the final 3 laps now, as at this point, of course, if a caution comes out, it doesn't really help any of these drivers because it will just end the race here in Homestead Miami. Now as we look up ahead, is there any lap cars that are going to come into the mix? There could be these 3 cars potentially within the final couple laps that could play a role, and I believe actually, Jay, looking at it, I think they're going to have to deal with these final 3 cars here before this race comes to an end in 2 laps time.
I agree with you. I think that they're going to catch them, and they're certainly going to play a role in the end of this race, especially if they stay too wide like that. If they stay too wide, we could have Hamlin win this race, for all I know. We've seen these guys really, really, really struggle to get around them single file and make it even worse if they're double file. So these guys are going to catch them maybe even on the final lap here, and this could really either be a good thing for Custer, or it could really end his day and be a bad thing for him and hand this race to Chris Buescher.
Coming to the final lap, white flag in the air for Cole Custer, looking for career win number 2. Are these lap cars going to play a role? We're about to find out. Buescher trying to get to the inside of Reddick in a desperation move now, as sure enough, here we go down the back straightaway for the final time. Where's the 41 going to go? They're side by side in front of him. 41's going to go to the inside. The 17 needs to just get desperate here and make something happen, and they are slow into 3 and 4. The 17 gets to the back of the 41 on the exit of turns 4, but I think he's just going to stay in behind him. Sure enough, out of turns 4, it's going to be Cole Custer coming through to win in Homestead Miami over second place of Chris Buescher as they go down into turn 1. The race comes to an end. Denny Hamlin actually got to the back there almost, but he ends up P3. But Cole Custer with the victory. I think, Jay, the 17 definitely could have pulled to the left here and maybe even had a run on the 41, but clearly didn't take the opportunity there.
I'm really surprised to see that. I thought that Chris Buescher coming off of turn 4 was in the best spot of his life. He had the run while Custer was slow, and I think he should have just pulled to the left and tried to make something happen. I'm kind of surprised to see that he didn't try that, but I guess maybe he didn't want to risk losing his second place finish, because of course we know Chris Buescher's second place finish to a guy like that in the 17 is really big for him, and it'll put him in a very good spot in the points. So maybe he was thinking more about points than trying to go for a win, which I mean, in my opinion, is a little bit silly, but you know, who knows? A guy in a mid-tier team may just want to get the most points he can. So that was quite the finish with the lap cars. Like we said, we knew they were going to get in the way, and what we didn't know was how they were going to handle it. So I'm quite surprised to see that there was no wrecking, and there was at least a clean finish.
Absolutely. They kept it clean there at the end. And there you see now the finishing order on your screen. So Cole Custer with win number 2 of his Cup Series career. I guess making a bit of a statement here that here in his second full-time season here, he is here to win races and be a legitimate contender. As Chris Buescher gets second place. Hamlin P3. Daniel Suarez with just poorly timed cautions and with stuff that happened throughout the race. Only 4 cars on the lead lap at the end, but Daniel Suarez was the last car on the lead lap. Kyle Larson rounds out the top 5. Chase Elliott P6, and there you see the rest of the order rounding out the top 10. You look at the 96 of Ty Dillon. I mean, Jay, you look at the order right now. I would point out 7th all the way through 11th, I guess, excluding the 23 at least. Some lower funded cars having some really good days, just making the best out of it with what happened.
Extremely surprising to see Ty Dillon in 10th there with a 96, but I mean, obviously, like you said, taking advantage of the situation that they were handed and getting a good finish out of it. Obviously, we see guys like De Benedetto retired, Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola. I think Harvick is retired. We got Christopher Bell retired, Keselowski, Logano. So Penske having a terrible day, and a lot of really good competitors having a bad day in general. All 4 Penske cars that were put into this race out by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, the best finishing Penske driver was Austin Cindric, the rookie, there in 32nd place. Kyle Busch, I think 22nd actually is, I think, his best finish of the season, getting back on the right track. De Benedetto found himself in position to maybe get a very strong top 10 with that last caution, and we saw how that ended. Ends up P28 there with an oil line failure, of course, after that big crash. Now is Ryan Blaney in P29 as well. Kevin Harvick goes from winning the Daytona 500, then back-to-back at the Daytona Road Course last week, and unfortunately DNFs in the first stage of today's race. So overall, I think, I mean, it was very exciting there in the first stage. Jay, we saw some 3x3x3, multiple rows deep, and then of course we saw some 4 wide for a couple laps, and then of course it came to a very catastrophic end as they went down into turns 3. But overall, I thought it just kind of, without all the lap traffic being in the mix and whatnot, the racing overall between these competitors was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. Without the lap cars, like you say, without the lap cars being in the way when they were not a factor, it was very good to watch them race, and it was really competitive, and it was back and forth between all of them. No one really dominated. You know, there was 6 or 7 guys that were always right there and could take the lead at any time. And so even before the wreck, when we saw them 3 and 4 wide and racing in a big pack, that was looking to be a really, really exciting race. If it stayed green, this race was looking to be like a really, really good race and a really exciting race. And then, unfortunately, it didn't stay green. We had Truex make a mistake and decide to keep flooring it up into the pack in turn 3 and basically killed 6 other competitors. And we ended up with just a madness for the rest of the race with them slowing down to go into the pit lane on the back straightaway and all running into each other and getting massive damage. So the cautions here were just not good. They made issues for a lot of drivers, and it created a lot of chaos, to say the least.
And we will have, I should have the point standings finally up in at the end of this video for the first time. But I mean, we look at next week, so we just had a mile and a half here today, Jay, and for the first time this season. But next week we go to Las Vegas. So I think that gives us a bit of an indicator of what we saw today of maybe what to expect next week.
I think we'll see the same thing that we saw at the beginning of this race. We'll see it again next week as well. A lot of pack racing, a lot of three wide, a lot of really, really, really close racing. And as long as there's no mistakes, we'll have a good, very exciting race. But as soon as those crashes start, we'll see more of them happen. We'll see more guys get damaged, and maybe have another surprise winner like we did this week with Cole Custer. So I think Vegas is we're in for another interesting race at Las Vegas.
Going to be interesting to say the least at Las Vegas. I've done a few tests myself, and I definitely think we're in for quite the race there. But we will have an actual modded Las Vegas, and I've just been testing on the just original NR2003 Las Vegas. But that will do it for myself as well as Jay here in the booth today at Homestead Miami Speedway. We, of course, hope you guys all enjoyed. In the next one, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Going to be an interesting one. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you guys next week from Las Vegas. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for watching, guys.
So here quickly are the points after Homestead Miami. These are not in order. I'm going to get these in order for the next episode, so do not worry about that. So that will be fixed up. But that's basically all the points that everybody has. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.